recording.
Good morning, everyone. I'm so excited. This is April and it's the long weekend. It's happy Thanksgiving to each and every one of you out there in the world that celebrate. And for those who don't, peace in your heart and blessings to all of you. Welcome, welcome. We have the Wellness Revolution today, and today we have some very special guests. And Randy Joe is my co host all the way from Montana, and I'll get her to introduce herself and our guests as well.
Hi, all. Thank you so much for being here. And man, I just was thinking this morning, getting ready for this. It's been over a year since Lisa and I started this, and it's just
Oh.
amazing the journey and the people we've met. It's been amazing, and the knowledge we've built. And want to thank our special guest today, Dr. Anna Swartz and Missy Eccles. Did I pronounce that right,
Yep,
Eccles?
you did.
All right, awesome for being here today. And a little bit about Dr. Anna Swartz is she's a world-renowned pioneer in exercising oncology, world record-setting cyclist. You'd be great here. I'm in Montana, Colorado, so I'm in between both states. But
Yeah.
Colorado, man, we have a lot of cycling that goes
Oh,
on
yeah.
here. So
Hmm.
I'm sure you've probably been up here maybe and did some cycling up here as well.
Absolutely. Yep.
So, and a cancer survivor who's proving that exercise is medicine. And she didn't just study the science, she's lived it, which is pretty darn cool. And now she's on a mission to inspire you and take control of your health, transform your life through the power of movement. And that is so key is movement. The more I learn about it, the more as I get older, I hear about movement all the time. And it's like, gosh, we do need it because we're so stagnation anymore with sitting behind the desk and all this AI computer stuff we've been
Right.
learning. It's like, okay, get up,
Mhm.
take some time for yourself. So thank you so much for Dr. Anna. And then also Missy Eccles. She's driving deep into the topic most people have never heard. Explain this a different way. She's explaining a different way the difference between supplementation and activation and why supporting the body from within truly matters. This is pretty cool. I love it. And then she'll be sharing how oxidative stress
Yep.
impacts your daily health, energy, and long term wellness, while your body already has built in systems designed to protect and repair yourself. Her powerful personal journey, including your own health challenges and her niece's experience that changed everything, and
Mhm.
how to take a more productive approach in supporting your body naturally and consistently. That is key, is consistency, isn't it? Just that too. So without further ado, welcome, ladies. And Dr.
Thank you.
Ann, if you want to start, share your story.
Certainly. I'd love to. Yeah. Let me just get myself organized here. Okay. I want you to close your eyes for a second. Imagine you're 24 years old. The world is wide open. You're free, fearless, and unstoppable. And then a doctor says three words that rearrange everything. Open your eyes. That was me. Hearing the words non Hodgkin's lymphoma and remembering almost nothing else. Because that moment those words landed, I was overwhelmed. Violent green black storm clouds settled in over my head, and they were rolling in from every direction, and I had nowhere to run. I was blanketed in darkness, terrified and alone. How many of you have faced a moment when life you planned just stopped? A diagnosis, a loss, a door that slammed shut? Here's what I did. I named my cancer the little problem. If it was little, it couldn't be too serious, right? Now, don't judge me. It worked. The mind goes where you lead it. The doctors told me to rest. Compassionate and standard advice. And it made me feel terrible. I was gaining weight, drowning in depression. The fatigue was crushing. One day I noticed that on the days when I dragged myself out to run errands, I came home feeling better. So I did what any reckless college student with a childhood dream and nothing to lose would do. I went out and I bought a bike. I was out of shape, every mile hurt, but I kept pedaling, driven by one stubborn thought: what if exercise is medicine? Here's the miracle. not the cycling. The miracle was what happened when I stopped facing it alone. Somehow, I got found by two of the top women cyclists, Betsy King, five-time captain of the U.S. Women's Tour de France team, and Susan Elias, a multi-time Tour de France stage winner. They took me under their wings. They didn't see a sick fat girl on a bike. They saw someone who wouldn't quit. They believed in me before I believed in myself. That's the power of community, of letting people in, of saying, I can't do this alone, and discovering you don't have to. In September 1988, still going through treatment, I completed a 15-day ride from San Diego to Jacksonville Beach, Florida. At the finish, my friend Susan Notarangelo, an icon in ultracycling, said, "You're the only woman I've ever met who could break my 24-hour distance record. You're my friend. Go do it." Well, I thought she was absolutely out of her mind. But in October of 1990, I rode 417 and a half miles in 24 hours and shattered her record. I would go on to set 3 world records in total. I'm not telling you this to impress you. I'm telling you this because when my cancer came back, at the peak of my cycling career, during a world record attempt at the Olympic Training Center, I had to make a choice. And that choice changed everything. I stopped chasing records. I started chasing answers. Why did movement make me feel better when rest made me feel worse? Why did no one in medicine know anything about cancer and exercise? So I earned my doctorate, built the science, and the research confirmed it. Exercise reduces fatigue, improves quality of life, and helps people finish treatment, increasing their chances for a cure. That work became the Schwartz Cancer Fatigue Scale, the Cancer Exercise app, and global collaborations to make exercise oncology standard of care. Now I apply everything I've learned to empower high achievers and cancer survivors to optimize their health span and reclaim their fullest lives through the Strength for Living programs. The thing that saved me is saving other people too. And here's what I know. The moment I called my cancer the little problem, I was practicing something deeply therapeutic, reframing. Getting on that bike when every cell in my body hurt, I was doing something we now have mountains of evidence to support. I was doing exercise as medicine. Letting 3 incredible women believe in me, I discovered one of the most powerful wellness tools of all, community. That's why we're here to help people thrive, not just survive, with real tools, real stories, and each other. At 24, with those storm clouds rolling in, I had no idea the ride of my life was just beginning. Neither do you. Let's go. Thanks.
Fabulous. Thank you so much for your presentation. That was incredible. And it sounds like that little problem when you were diagnosed and reframing it to the little problem, giving it a name. It sounds like you went through your own transition of mind shifting in order to change the narrative to say that I got this.
Yeah,
And
absolutely. I had to, or it was going to overwhelm my life and totally paralyze me.
because
Yeah.
I think there's some people that just go into the offices and they accept that diagnosis,
Hmm.
not always willingly or anything, or sometimes people get stuck once they hear that diagnosis, like you have
Hmm.
cancer.
Hmm.
And sometimes when doctors give you a lifespan like 6 months or 18 months, it really affects your entire DNA, I believe.
Hmm.
Because I went through this with a few of my family members, like my father and my brother, and they dealt with it very differently than my mother.
Oh.
And my mother, like, she had one of her breasts removed, and it's like she just, coasted right through it and says, continued on her regular journey of life
Hmm.
with her chores and everything and raising her 9 children and stuff. But when my brother and my dad got the diagnosis, it seemed like it paralyzed them for the moments.
Mm.
And it was like oftentimes people don't have an outlet or know how to talk about what's going on with them.
Hmm.
And and so I really feel that the words are medicine too. You
Hmm.
know, with the diagnosis, with what you said and what you
Yeah.
declared within your body and your DNA. So kudos on you for all your accomplishments and creating that, finding that community and creating community in order to heal.
Thanks. Yeah. I think exercise is such a powerful medicine that we haven't really opened up to so many patients with cancer and with other diseases. It not only changes your mind emotionally and gives you hope because now you have control over something. It, of course, has huge physical benefits to you. Not only feeling stronger and getting improving your balance, but it affects every system in your body.
Hmm.
So it's a very powerful healing tool. Yeah.
Well, thank you for sharing. So, what was the defining moment, you know, for yourself when you broke through your own stuff? Like,
I think it was when I started exercising, actually. They told me to go home and rest. And, what does rest mean to us all? It means go home and curl up on the couch and just sit there and, and wait to get through your treatment. And I was just like circling the drain. I felt so weak and so tired and depressed. And then I really did. I came back from doing some simple little errands and I thought, I feel better. I've got more energy. And it was that movement, and movement was changing my life. And then I thought, I've had all these dreams, what we now call bucket lists, things that we want to check off. And one of them of my dreams was to ride my bike across the United States. And it had been a childhood dream. And so I just decided if running errands makes me feel better, maybe riding my bike would feel better. And every single time I exercised, I wound up, I may have been grinding and really hard and, painful to exercise. But when I came back and had lunch and, recovered, I was like, I feel good. My spirit was better. My body felt better. Um, so, and there's so much research now to support, this experience and, and everything that I'm talking about, not just my research, but research all over the world, that it's profound medicine. We're trying to work to get exercise oncology to be standard of care. So you get a cancer diagnosis and, you need to start rehab to get strong,
mhm.
to have your best outcome. Yeah.
Well, and I also like you took responsibility for your health. You
Yeah.
just didn't sit there idly and expecting miracles to happen. You made this miracle happen by taking that
I guess
action.
so. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of medicine in that, in
Hmm.
the responsibility, because it's in our hands
Hmm.
that we can change the outcomes of our life.
Yeah. Yeah. That's so true.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Thank you, Anna, so much for that. And I'm just thinking when you talk about the exercise, as medicine and all that too, it's like, my generation, you'd go outside and you'd play until the street lights came on,
Hmm.
right? And come
Right.
back in. So you always had exercise. You didn't go to the gym, you didn't do this, but you were busy doing other things
Right.
and growing up, in sports, everything in high school, all that.
Hmm.
But then when it switched to computers in the 80s and all
Hmm.
that kind of stuff, and I think that is where if I was if my parents were hard workers
Hmm.
and that's how they exercised.
Yeah.
So I think just if we had a different kind of mindset, doesn't mean you have to go to the gym, but it is you take that
Oh,
chunk of time out of half an
yeah.
hour a day,
Hmm.
even go for a walk,
Go for a walk. Exactly.
right? And
Yeah.
it's like getting that instilled in me. It's like, and when I do it, I feel so much better,
Hmm.
but I make so many excuses.
Hmm.
Well, I need to
Right.
get
It's just
done.
do this little bit more
Yeah.
work, and then
Yep.
suddenly 3 hours have passed, and
Yes.
you've lost that window or that momentum. You really have to schedule it into your day.
Yes.
Um, yeah.
I even have it on my calendar workout
I
and it's
love it. I love it.
like,
That's the best.
but it's hit and miss. So it's not constant. It's just hit
Mhm.
and miss. It's like, okay, but I have it there.
But
That's
it's
the
on the
yeah.
calendar, it's protected time, and you have the
Yep.
intention. So,
Yes.
yeah, that's fantastic. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Hmm.
Anybody else have any questions for Dr. Anna?
Well, I just wanted to mention one more thing that came to mind with both what you and Randy Joe had said, was talking about some of your childhood, like some of the activities as a child
Hmm.
and some of your dreams as a child. So going back into that time of our lives when we're going through crisis, sometimes is really the solution in tuning into our root dreams and goals for our lives. Because as a child, when you can actually see that outcome of, say, going across the states on your bike,
Hmm.
then that dream becomes more profound when your health is at risk,
Hmm.
or when something is, gnawing at your life,
Hmm.
and it becomes even more purposeful. So I really feel that that's the sunshine in our life, trying to go through all of our cells as beings as what is most important to us.
Hmm.
Is it to go back into that dream or that childhood aspiration, or is it to manifest what the real world, the mainstream world, wants us to think? But I think when you tune into that root,
Hmm.
that dream of a child, that you can be limitless.
Yeah. Yeah. Children have such
Just like the
vivid
sun comes up
imaginations.
every day.
Hmm.
Yeah. So, where do you want to emphasize your goals and your dreams?
Hmm.
And I think that that becomes even more profound. And I thank you very much for sharing that. And Randy Joe, thank you for reminding us that as children, we didn't have to have a schedule or an alarm clock to go play.
Yeah.
And as adults, we need to schedule it. It's kind of crazy, isn't it?
It is. It's
So
kind
I
of
think
sad,
we do.
actually.
Yeah, yeah, it is kind of sad. So if we can go back into thinking about ourselves as children and being that playful person, would
Hmm.
all be much healthier, body, mind, and spirit.
Yeah.
So thank you for your sharing.
Thank
So
you.
I think
Yes.
next,
See, you're on. Love to hear your story, Missy. Thanks again for being.
Absolutely. So again, my name is Missy. And again, my story starts off, I had open heart surgery at the age of 2. I had a rare condition called core triatrium. And then later on in life, right, recovered from that. When I was about 26, I found out that I had a tumor that had attached to my left ovary,
Mhm.
and they both needed to be surgically removed. And I remember once we went along with that journey, and the reason I really got involved in the company that I am is really I'm passionate about people advocating for themselves. So that was a process of me even finding about the tumor. I remember my side hurting so bad and finally being like, and I was one of those people who put something off and put something off and, oh, it'll be okay. Oh, it's all right. And one day I was like, oh, I've got to go to urgent care. And the doctor at urgent care was like, oh, I think you have a hernia. And I was like, I don't think that's what's happening. So I went to my primary care physician and he said the same thing. And I said, okay, well, how do we rule out, right? How do we find out exactly what's happening here and then move from there? So we did that. And that's how I found out that it was a tumor. And we had to do the surgery and we did all of that. But I remember asking my doctor who did the surgery, why did this happen? Or what could I have been doing differently? And she said, these things just happen. And I thought, what an awful answer. So at that point, I said, well, I really want to start to think about my health differently. I really want to think about what can I do to be proactive instead of reactive to my health. So I kind of went on a search on so many levels to do so many things. When I got that tumor, I was in the hospitality industry at the time, and I got to a point where I was just burnt out. For those who have been in that hospitality industry, I worked for hotels, and they're 24-hour environments. So my schedule was up and down. I was kind of all over the place. I was in management, which I now joke lovingly and say that it was glorified babysitting. For those who have ever been in that before, I'm sure they'll relate to that. But I left that career after being in there for 16 years and kind of just went out looking for anything. So I actually ended up moving into insurance. And at the time, I was still working two jobs. So I was selling Aflac insurance in the day, and I was working at a call center for Medicare at night, which gave me wonderful information. And I got to learn that. But I started doing some networking events, right, to introduce me to new people, to kind of do all of these different things. And I met a lady there and we connected. And then the next night I went to another networking event and she was there again at a different event. And I was like, oh, okay. So we still connected. She wanted to tell me about her company and what she did. And I was like, yeah, okay. And I never really pursued it at that time. But I remember getting home one night from the call center, which I got off after midnight,
Hmm.
and it snowed because I'm here in Michigan. And I was like, oh, so for those of you who live in an area where it snows, I hate driving over the snow and then trying to shovel the tire over the tire tracks. So I just can't stand it. So at midnight, I'm shoveling the snow. So I get to the end of the driveway and I'm thinking, man, I'm working really hard. I'm kind of tired. There's got to be a better way than what I'm doing right now. So I thought the lady that I met, we had kind of connected on, I guess I'll say like a spiritual level. She had on a cross bracelet that I really liked. And I said, it's really, really nice. And I remember us having that conversation and I thought, I need to reach out to her. So I called her and she introduced me to this activation over supplementation kind of idea. And that really was what I was looking for. I'm kind of one of those people where I go out in the world. I don't necessarily know exactly what I'm looking for, but when I find it, I'm like, that's it. That's what I was looking for. So this was an opportunity to activate a portion of my body that was not working at the peak level that it had when I was younger. And so that's what this, one of the products that do at this company. And I was like, that's great. Sign me up because I felt like I was already on a journey where things were happening to me and they were out of my control, right? There weren't things I was doing. At age 2, of course, I had done nothing in life where I had open heart surgery. And even at 26, I hadn't really done anything that at least I was aware of that caused this tumor. But we all know that there's so many things that probably happen, our food, our environment, all of these different things to go along with our genetics that caused me to have that tumor. So I joined this company. I thought I've got to share this with everybody because I think people struggle so much and they don't know where to start. And now, of course, we're in this age of AI and all of this technology, and we don't know what information is true, is factual, is right. And this simple daily product is science backed, is one of the few, if not only, products on PubMed that is completely natural. And this product lowers your oxidative stress by 40%. I could dive all into that. We will get all into that. But that was pretty much my journey of how that happened. I too, like Dr. Anna, when I had that tumor, I named it Stewie. Because I think we have to learn to laugh and smile in life. I think struggles are going to come regardless to what we do. And I was like, I don't know how long this tumor's been there. So I felt like Stewie was an appropriate name. And then I told people about Stewie. So, and it was very clear when I went back to work. People were like, oh my God, you lost so much weight. And I was like, no, I had a tumor. It was great. And so that's my story. And then that company, I found that again, not only just being part of a community and talking about health and different things and just having that community, which is something I feel like we lack a little bit in today's world. We have so much social media, which I think gives us makes us think we're connecting, but we're not really connecting again like we're designed to have human to human interaction. So
Mhm.
that's where I am.
Thank you
Oh,
so much for sharing. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Talk about taking control of the narrative of your life, basically. It sounds like very similar by naming
Mhm.
your sickness and also questioning the doctor.
Yeah.
Did you talk to the doctor about some of your feedback about some of that you felt that it wasn't quite what you were looking for or challenging her in any way?
I did, but we didn't really get anywhere,
Or you
right?
just
Like
took it in yourself?
I took it
Yeah.
in myself. I said, well, what advice? What do you give? Where do you tell people to go from here? Yes, we remove a tumor, but how do I not get another one, right? How does that tumor not become a cancerous tumor? I
Mm-hmm.
want to be able to again be proactive before I'm trying to be reactive. So, and my grandfather had colon cancer. So I was 10 years old when he passed, and I saw what that did to him. And I thought, man, it's such an awful thing, right? And it's an awful thing to watch people go through. And that was 30 years ago, right? So I
Mm-hmm.
mean, we've come a long way since then. But I really wanted to think about that. But no, the doctor just kind of was like, meh, it just kind of just happens.
So she kind of put a fire under your spirit
Hmm.
to go further and delve deeper, which is medicine in its own way,
yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
right? Because if she didn't do that, then maybe the impetus to change or to question might not have been there. So,
Right.
in a way, it worked to your advantage
Divine
by
intervention.
yeah, exactly. I think that's really, really interesting. And I think a lot of people out there listening, what is your defining moment? What is your divine intervention? So I know you might be watching this after the recording, but put in the chat below something about what changed for you when you were given that diagnosis or told that something is going on. Because I know that many people out there are searching for possible answers. And I think through this presentation that you've offered today to both of our speakers is possible solutions to how we can react. Because 90%, 10% is just the diagnosis, but 90% is what we're going to do about it.
That's right.
Mhm.
So I really feel like your medicine today to both of you ladies has been very instrumental in helping to find solutions for people out there in the universe that are going through similar experiences. So I just want to thank you for that because I think it's really life changing.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, definitely. And I think, like Lisa had said earlier, about being advocates for our own selves, right? And that is kind of key. Doctors are awesome. They're great. We need them. There's times that like you asking Missy that question is like, why did this happen to me at such a young age? And so I think that, the doctors sometimes are not educated on it. My mom was a nurse for 40 years. So I've heard a lot of the stuff going on in and out, and all that. But with technology nowadays, I'm hoping that the medical world field will be a little bit more into exercising. Okay, use this natural stuff versus using this supplement. And I mean, use supplements or in exercise, right?
Mhm.
Hand in hand versus
Mhm.
putting this synthetic drug in you to help
Right.
cut staph infection, whatever it is, right? Instead. So that might be a little extreme, but but it's kind of like that part too. But also, Missy, I was going to ask you in the Facebook, I had posted on there about your niece's experience. Do you mind sharing a little bit about that? I'm
Oh
curious.
yeah, absolutely. So, to kind of explain this a little bit, I got full custody of my niece when she was 5 years old. She's 10 now.
Okay.
Um, but she was diagnosed with ADHD. So she came, I wasn't, in my mind, I wasn't prepared to be a parent. I had decided that I wasn't going to have any children. So the good news is that life had prepared me to have her come in. But this was a kid who got kicked out of kindergarten multiple times, where literally I get a phone call, hey, we need you to come pick her up. And I thought, who gets kicked out of kindergarten? Like it's color and play. So, again, I mean, we were back on a journey. We started her in therapy and they wanted to put her on meds. I was like, she's 5, right? I mean, like, we want to give her a fighting chance. I was like, I just can't do that. So I said, okay, it'll be an absolute last resort if we have to do that. But we didn't. So she is thriving today. We went with herbal supplements. Part of the products in my company she takes that help with mental focus and clarity and kind of help you get through the day so you can kind of quiet down a little bit of that brain noise where she, especially as a kid, some of that came with as she got older, but we needed to shut down all of the craziness in her brain a little bit. So that was kind of part of her journey, but I encourage people, right? Like I just didn't want to start giving her medication and negatively impact her with her life moving forward. So I wanted to give her a fighting chance. I'm not saying that everybody should do that depending on what the circumstance is. Um, but in this case, it wasn't a health risk not putting her on meds for that. And we just kind of pushed through some challenging days. And it could be so much. I remember they do a little day at school where you can go and talk to all of the teachers. And I was looking for her first grade teacher. And her first grade teacher got married and I couldn't find her. I didn't know she got married. I couldn't find the name. I'm looking in the classrooms. And I was like, oh man, I can't find Miss Peters. Dang. Now, I'm not a big hugger, right? I love the world, but hugging's not my most favorite thing. I saw Miss Peters, I hear her down there, she goes, Auntie Missy. And I turn around and I run towards her and I give her this big hug. And she was with us when we were struggling, right? I had to go on every single field trip or my niece Leia couldn't go. So she was with us in the days. I said, you was with us in the days when it was tough. So the journey coming through it, I mean, at the time we were in it, I was like, oh my goodness. But now we've come through most of that and, Leia's doing great and all of those people, not only the treatment we chose, but the community again, all of the teachers at school, all of they did all of these different things and the counselors and the social workers and our therapists help us navigate and get through that.
Amazing.
Wow, fantastic. Sounds like you had a village
We
step
had
up
a
to the
we
plate.
had a village. We still have a village. That
Still
village
Yes,
is
Yeah.
we're holding on to that village tight.
yes.
Thank you for sharing that. That's an inspiration for many people, that have kids that are diagnosed with ADHD such a young age. And it's like, there is hope. There definitely is. And just finding that right village, you might be the first one you find, but just keep looking for them and fighting for them and teaching the kids to fight for themselves too.
Mhm.
Yep.
Definitely. Thank you,
Well, I
Miss.
really like the natural, herbal approach versus going into, psychotic medication that
Adderall.
could really psychologically impact their lives forever. And the dependency on these tablets, is really incredible. And it's oftentimes it's just a band-aid to the core issue of the child. I feel, and I think that's without spending a little more time on the journey with the family and looking at these alternatives. So, how many American or Canadian children are on these medications?
Yeah.
And how many of them are developing like liver issues, kidney issues from drugs, that are chemicals, as we know, and often impact them. Now, I know that there's a time and place for medication, But long ago, our ancestors didn't use pills. They used
Right.
herbs.
Herbs.
And I think the mortality rate is probably a lot less way back then, especially with children with ADHD. So, is the mainstream system the right way to go? Maybe. Maybe not. Maybe alternatives is the best way to go. So, for each person out there, you have to find what works for you.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I think that's the key thing here.
Definitely. Yeah.
So, any more comments? How was today for you ladies coming to speak on our platform and share with the universe the wellness revolution?
Fantastic. Hearing everyone's stories and meeting you guys. Wonderful discussion.
I agree.
Thank you very much for coming out.
I agree. Connecting with you guys, hearing Dr. Anna's story about movement. I agree with her 100%. I go to the gym for strength training twice a week. And I'm training for the second time to walk a 20 miles in a day in 8 hours. Well, I shouldn't say in a day, in 8 hours. I succumbed to heat stroke last time because I wasn't prepared for that. But we're doing it again this year. So just keep pushing forward. So I definitely believe in movement and how to our minds it doesn't make sense. Like if I do something that I'll have more energy, but it's so true.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Thank you so much for sharing. How about you, Randy Joe?
I was just like, every time we have one of these, it's like I learned so many nuggets, and I just love it. And just the reassurance, like movement is medicine for sure. And to get now it's springtime, and it's like no excuse. Get out there, enjoy the fresh air, and beautiful Colorado where I'm at right now in the mountains is just like get out there
Mhm.
and enjoy it. Make time for me. The other people can wait. Just put them on the back burner. It's about me, right? And that's where I have to get to, because with my career that I do, I work with people that are addicted to drugs and alcohol and stuff like that too. So I see a lot of that with the medications and all that stuff. So it's like I need to take time for myself and to rejuvenate myself over the weekends so I can do it again the next week. So, and then do it after work to get my walk in. Now the daylight savings is
Yeah.
With us. Fabulous.
Great.
Thank you so much for being here, girls. I appreciate it.
Mhm.
Thank you. And I just wanted to mention that, 4 years ago, during this time, we were going through the pandemic, and I did lose my mom in April and my brother in June. And I went to see a therapist, and the therapist, it was all virtual. And she says, it's all in your hands to heal. And I'm sending you a booklet to heal your life, basically. And I thought to myself, we have to do better than this. Why can't we have, all the processes that I need to go through, like, the memorializing the loved ones, the healing. And I thought to myself, this was my fire under my own soul to do something different. And that was my impetus to change my mindset, my spiritual setting as a human being, and knowing that we all have a rites of passage. And through our sicknesses and in health, that we learn each and every day how to manifest our own desires to be in the realm of health as an asset to our well-being or a liability. So what are you choosing today for yourself? Are you looking at the sunshine that comes each morning or the clouds in our life? Where do you put your energy? And I feel that that's the most important thing that we can put out there is the energy of love and light, because that's what heals the world. And that's what each of the stories of the Wellness Revolution does, is to share that wisdom from all the people that come and speak here, to share their stories in a profound way to help to heal with the world. So with that, I thank each and every one of the speakers here today. And I wish you all a great long weekend, and make the most of it, because the dash in our lives can go pretty fast. So with that, thank you all. Do we want to close off with our song?
If you want
We
to.
have a wellness revolutionary song that I'm just gonna queue up here. I have it here somewhere in my assets, and we're just gonna close off with this very beautifully. And thank you very much for all of you tuning in out there. And I wish you all a very wonderful day. And just know the wellness revolution is in your hands. What can you do to change your life? So here we go, the wellness revolution.
There's a spark of fire in our hearts, a calling to heal where the journey starts. Mind, body, spirit together as one, a revolution rising like the morning sun. We've been searching for balance, seeking the light. Now we're stepping forward, ready to ignite. With every small change, the world moving new. Together we'll thrive, it begins with you. Join the wellness revolution, let's rise today. Breaking the barriers, lighting the way. With resilience and love, we'll build something new. The wellness revolution starts with you. Every breath, every step brings us closer still to a life that's aligned with purpose and will. From stress to strength, from chaos to peace, in this revolution, our wellness will increase. We're grounded in science, guided by care, creating a vision that we all can share. It's a holistic journey, a path to renew.
You guys, movement is medicine. Woo! Dance! Yeah!
Breaking the barriers, lighting the way. With resilience and love, we'll build something new. The wellness revolution starts with you.
So thank you all once again. Take care, and we'll see you at the next Wellness Revolution next month. On the first weekend of every month on Saturdays, join us because we love to hear all your stories. Take care, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Creating a vision that we all can share. It's a holistic journey.